Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Recently, I made a video where I shared with you some scholarships that you can go and apply to, but then I thought it's better we go through the processes, before you apply for scholarships. Now, this is where I show you how you can get ready, prepare some of the documents that you need, like your statement of purpose, your CVs, and so on. So this is what this video is going to be all about. I'm going to show you how you can submit a strong application to improve your chances of getting scholarships, basically. Now, let's get straight into it. Now, let me hop on my Miro board so that we can go through this together. You should know that there are 3 application phases to, scholarship applications. This is the pre-application phase. This is where you submit like your SOP. We're going to get into it, your CV, your transcripts, you get the idea, and your certificates, etc. Like, this part is very important. This is where you actually sell yourself to the admissions board, to the scholarship board. This is where you prove yourself that you're worthy, you're qualified, and so on. After the pre-application phase, we have the the application phase, right? Now, this is where you apply, you source for it on the internet, you ask people around, you Google, you just find information, and this is where you apply 10, apply 20, apply 30. The more you apply, the more your chances of getting accepted. And mind you, as you apply for more, always try to improve your application process, your SOP, your CV, and so on. We'll get to all of those documents individually. This part is very important. Then the last part is basically post application phase. Now, this is where you have, the interviews. This is the part where you cannot control much of it because you've already submitted your application. Like, this part is up to the admissions committee. Apart from the interviews where you have to present yourself, the remaining is not really up to you. It's like visa processing and so on. So for this video, we are going to focus on pre-application phase and the application phase. Now, let's start with the pre-application phase. Like I mentioned, this is where you have your documents ready, you prepare them, you make sure that you scan them. First, you collect them from your university. For example, your BSc, certificates. Make sure you get them from the university as quick as possible. Get them ready. Your MSc certificate too. Then your transcripts. Very important you get them on time, because I noticed that there's this issue where you're really trying to apply for a scholarship, but then the transcript is not ready. So in this case, what you should try to do is that you should compile the transcript from the previous semesters, like just gather them together and submit them like that, and then mention that you're waiting for the final transcript, just for them to have something to look at as you're submitting the application. Then if you're in Nigeria, your SSCE is WAEC, right? Then your international passport. Now, these documents are documents that you really can't change. You just present them as they are. If you have a first class, that's what you're going to present. If you have a second class lower, like, this is how you're going to present them. Now, the next one is where you can really change it. Like I said, the first one, you can't really change much of it after you've gotten it. But here you can actually do something. This is where you have your statement of purpose. Now, this is very important. This is where you can sell yourself. This is your interface between the committee, the admissions committee, or the scholarship committee, the scholarship board, or whatsoever, and you. They don't know you. Like this is where you explain to them. Let's say, God forbid, you get third class or something. This is where you explain to them why you got third class and how you were able to get away from that. Show them that that is not a real reflection of you, that you've done this, you've achieved this. So the SOP is an opportunity for you to show them what you can do. First, what you want to do, what you did, and how them giving you scholarship is going to help you further in your career and so on. After the statement of purpose, you have your CV. Although this is mainly when you're looking for job, but in a lot of scholarships, they still ask for your CV. CV is like the history of your life. Okay, you went to school and you studied this. While you were studying, you did this research. Then you got a job. You got some experience, 1 or 2 years, like that, like and so on. That's like a CV. So make sure you write that very well too. Don't worry, we'll get to that after this. We'd look at the documents individually, and I'll give you some tips on how to write them better. The next one here, we have reference letters. Now, these are very important too to get them. You know, the issue with this pre-application stage, this is where most of the time is being spent because you have to write a very good SOP. You have to write your CV, like structure it well. You have to message your professors to send you reference letters before you apply for scholarships, because in a lot of scholarships, they ask for reference letters. Some people call it a recommendation letter and so on. So this is very important too. If you have awards, can also put them here. Then what again can we put here? English language test. So this is where we have the IELTS or, you know, TOEFL, that's TOEFL, right? This is also very important. In some scholarships, they ask for it, some don't ask for it. Now, these are some of the documents that you really need to package. You need to arrange them, you understand, for the pre-application stage. You need to prepare an application package. Once you have these things, it will be very easy for you. As let's say I share with you some links to go and apply. All you have to be doing is, you know, pasting, uploading the documents, and you click submit. And for this stage, it's very important you have all your documents in electronic copy. Make sure you take a shot of them, snap them, and then save them. And also make sure that it is not very large, because some of them have requirements that it has to be, you know, less than 1 MB and so on. So make sure you save them in like small sizes, not very large. Also with very good quality, so that they can be able to see what's written in your documents. Let me share with you one website. I think is I love PDF. I'll write it down. I love PDF.com. If you want to compress, you know, your documents and, you know, store them, go to this site to help you in reducing the size of the documents. Now that you have an idea of the documents that you need to get and, you know, how you need to arrange them and everything, let's talk briefly about the application phase. Then we're going to talk about the SOP, how to write it. I will share with you some tips on how to write the statement of purpose and how to write a very good CV, and then some guidance on your reference letters. Let's talk about the application phase. Now, for the application phase, this is where we're going to talk about, like, where do you get scholarships? You understand? Now, for that, we are going to I'm going to share with you the different types of scholarships that you can apply to and like where to get them. So the first one is university scholarships. Now for this, these are scholarships that are offered by universities themselves. For example, a lot of universities in Saudi Arabia, they give universities themselves. For example, the King Fahd University of Petroleum and Minerals, I hope I wrote it correctly, or there's this university, King Abdullah, or is it King Abdulaziz University, KAU, and then there's another one, KAUST, I hope I didn't mix it up. I think this is King Abdulaziz University of Science and Technology. Then you have Russian universities too do it. I know of I think School Cover. School Cover give scholarships themselves. So there are a lot of these types of universities that give scholarships, like from the university. Once you apply, in fact, you're considered automatically for the scholarship. Now, after university scholarships, we have the foreign government scholarships. Now, this is the Chinese. Chinese give a lot of scholarships to students internationally, right? Japanese, you also give scholarships, Australian, and so on. So make sure you search for these scholarships. They're everywhere. There are a lot of opportunities out there. After foreign government scholarships, we have the international organizations. There are some international organizations out there that give scholarships. For example, I think there's one they call DAD, DAAD. This is Germany. There's Erasmus. This is mostly to European countries, and etc. This is the third one. Now the next one is your government. In my case, Nigerian government. Let me put your government, whoever is watching this. For you to get scholarship from your government, go to the Ministry of Education's website and check. But for Nigeria, I'll put the link down below. I discussed it in one of my previous videos. Like, that was how I got my scholarship. It was the federal government that sponsored my scholarship under the BEA, which is the Bilateral Education Agreement. So I studied in Russia. Russia were paying my tuition and they gave me accommodation, while Nigeria is catering for my needs, stipend and so on. That's how the bilateral education agreement works. So there are a lot of countries you can go from Nigeria, like Morocco, China. I think China is mostly for PhD, and then there's Turkey and so on. And there are a lot of other scholarships on the website, so make sure you go and check it. Now, these are the 4 main ways you can get scholarships. These scholarships, make sure you check them on Google. Always check Google, like, it's very easy. Let's say you want to study in China, go to Chinese scholarships on Google. You're going to see a lot of options and follow them accordingly. So you have to utilize social media well to get the scholarships. You can use LinkedIn. There are a lot of opportunities there. You can also use Twitter. Okay, they call it X now, right? Check X. You're going to see a lot of scholarships posted there, and you should try and apply these scholarships. So as you're applying, make sure you apply to as much as you can, and make sure anytime you're applying, you're improving the application. Don't just keep applying the same CV, the same statement of purpose, the same everything, and you don't get it, and you're still applying the same things. Make sure you're improving, you're getting feedback. There are some scholarships that if you apply to and you get rejected, you can actually message them, and hopefully they'll respond to you and tell you this is the reason why they didn't pick you. And then you take that feedback and improve, we can say. And as you're applying, I would suggest that you put all the details on a spreadsheet. Go to a spreadsheet, number 1, that you apply to King Fahd University of Petroleum and Minerals. You apply this course, this the dates, this, like, you end up having a list of scholarships that you have there. And a lot of these scholarships, they open yearly, so take note of that. Let's say you look for more information on them and the application is closed, just write it on your spreadsheet, write when it will open, write the deadline, and just wait. And all these kind of things, put them down on the Excel spreadsheet. Is going to help you a long way. Now, this is where I show you how you're going to write some of these documents. I'm just going to show you some things to put in mind as you're writing your statement of purpose, your CV, and the reference letters, what the content should be, and so on. Let's start with the statement of purpose. For the statement of purpose, you should put it at the back of your mind as you're writing this document, as you're writing this letter, that the admissions committee, the scholarship committee, whatever, are very busy. They don't have time to read your long text and so on. So make sure that the SOP is like 1 to 2 pages. Just keep it brief. Don't make it long. Try and write directly, like go direct. Go straight to the point. Every sentence matters. Don't be telling them some information they don't need to know. Just go direct. Don't go and be telling them your story of how you were in secondary school, you were this, you were that. No. Just go direct. Since you're applying for a master's program or a PhD program, in your in your SOP, this is where you tell them things related to the project that you undertook. You go deeper on your experiences doing your bachelor's and how joining their program and how getting their scholarship is going to help you move further. You understand? And also make sure you write text that grabs their attention. Every sentence matters. So try and grab their attention with your writing. This is very important. Their attention. Like this is where as they read the first paragraph, the intro is very important. As they read it, they will be so eager to even continue reading what you are writing. Now, in your statement of purpose, it's very important you write your motivation clearly. Your motivation. Like, why are you applying for this scholarship is very important. This is where you explain to them your background briefly. Maybe that's like connected to your bachelor's. If you're applying for master's, you tell them about your research experience, that you worked on a particular topic and you developed some skills, and now you're joining this program, you're applying for this scholarship to go for further studies, to carry out a particular research. To you understand what I'm saying? Like, make it coherent. Don't be all over the place. No, just go direct. This. I was here, this is what I got, and I'm here, this is what I want to get, that kind of thing. Next is tell them about your bachelor's. Like I mentioned earlier, this is where you tell them why you got some poor grades in your bachelor's. Let's say you got second class, lower, or third class, and so on. This is where you tell them the challenges that you faced and how you overcame them. This will tell them the kind of person you are. And if they trust you, if they agree with what you wrote, this might be the reason why you might get the scholarship, even though you didn't have like spectacular grades. Another important thing to include in your statement of purpose is you should write your leadership and if you had some work experience that is relevant. And let's say volunteering too, because you might not have work experience, but you've volunteered for different groups, maybe companies or even the university. This is where you kind of put that. It's very important. The next is if you have some teaching or research experience, put it in your statement of purpose. Teaching and research experience. This is very important because some of these programs that you're applying to, you might end up being like the assistant to some professor or something like that. Sometimes the professors, they don't come for lectures and they send their graduate students to like take the younger classes. So this is like a very good thing to put in your statement of purpose. Now let's go to the next one. Is that why did you choose the university that you chose? Let's put it down. You need to address it in the SOP. Like why are you going to this university? Why did you choose the university? Now this is where you don't use generic terms that this is a world-class university, like da 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 da. No, you can mention that, but the main point you should mention should be pertaining to what you're looking for in the university. You can talk about the facilities, the equipments and whatever they have in the university. When they read and they see that you've actually done your research, you've looked into the university, you know the kind of lab equipments they have and everything, and this is what you want, you'll be like, wow, this person actually knows what he's looking for from our university. So this is very important you include in your statement of purpose. And also, under the reason why you chose their university, you can talk about one of their professors. Talk about their their professors. This is very important. This might even be the reason why you might get the scholarship, because when you look into the university, you look into the course that you want to study. There you can see the professors that are going to be taking the course. So in your statement of purpose, you can include one of the professors that you'd want to work with in the statement of purpose. But before you do that, mind you, you have to try and contact the professor yourself. Contact him and tell him that you'd want to work with him. You're applying to the university, you'd want to work with him for social reason, you want to do research in this, and make sure that your research and his own background they correlate. If the professor agrees, I'm telling you, that's like 70 to 80% done. You just have 20% remaining for you to get the scholarship, because the professor might follow up on your admission. Because when you submit your application and the scholarship committee or admissions committee are reviewing it and they see the name of their own professor, they're actually going to contact him whether he knows about you. And if the professor says yes, that means you have like your foot in the door. All you're waiting for is the acceptance letter for the scholarship. So mind you, this is a very important technique that you should try and apply. Now, these are some of the things that you should consider. I'm sure there are a lot of other things out there, but if you nail this, if you write them very well in your statement of purpose, I bet you it will help you in submitting a strong application for the scholarship. Now, the next we are going to look at is the CV. Now, this is a document I got, it's from Harvard University. This will help you in writing your CV. Though it's written resume here. You know, CV and resume, they are used interchangeably. This will help for your CV. So let's go. Now, as it's written here, the resume language should be specific rather than general. Exactly. Don't, be using general terms while you're writing on your CV. Be specific, like this is what I did, this is what I went through, and so on. Don't be using like general terms that people don't even understand what you're saying. You understand? Write to express, not impress. I like this one. A lot of times when someone is reading, you can tell what he's trying to do. Is he just trying to impress you, or he's trying to express himself, and so on? Active rather than passive. This comes up better actually when you're writing in an active manner rather than passive. And then I like this one where you should write for people who can scan quickly. Exactly. A lot of people that you submit your CVs to have to review a lot of CVs. So you should always try writing it brief and to the point. Don't write bulky CVs with like 5 pages. No, CV is like 1 or 2 pages highest. And then don't be using a lot of designs. They kind of take the attention away. And sometimes these CVs or resumes, whatever you call them, they are being put under test, like through, I think, AI, or is it some robots or whatsoever. So they might see all these designs as red flags. So just go direct, use the keywords they're supposed to use the terms that are related to what you're applying. Yeah. Here are some do's and don'ts. Here they say you should not use personal pronouns such as I. Yeah, it doesn't come off very good. You should not abbreviate, because the person reading it might not even know the meaning of the abbreviation. And here are some, more don'ts. Just you can pause the video and, observe all that is written here. As you can see, you should not include a picture. I feel like this is based on location. In some places it's okay, but in most places I think it is not. Just like references, there are some places that they ask for it, while some they don't. So make sure you look into, your environment. Is that acceptable or not? And then these are some do's. That you should be consistent in format and content. This is very important. So you shouldn't start writing it with Calibri and then you change to Times New Roman and then later you're writing with Arial. No, it should be consistent, because if there is inconsistency, it doesn't look really good. And then make it easy to read and follow, balancing the white space. This is very important. And as you're writing it, you should write it in a chronological order. It's either from the latest to the oldest or from the oldest to the latest. But I think it's better you go from the latest. Like, let's say you just graduated from university, you got your bachelor's, you should write it first, and what you did should follow. And also be writing it under headings, list headings such as experience in order of importance. If education is important, write it, then work experience, then like skills and so on. And then as you're writing, it's very important you use action verbs for your resume. These are some that are outlined here. Let's say you carried out some research. You can be using terms like I discovered so and so, I examined this and that, I identify, I diagnosed. This comes off better than saying I like this, I designed this and that. Like I mentioned earlier, you shouldn't be using personal pronouns. This is a way that you can do it. Let me show you a sample. As you can see, the name is clearly stated with the email and phone number. Yeah, it's very important you put your contact details. And then in order of importance, you're going to outline, you're going to put the headings. You have education here. This is the most recent, which is the Masters of Liberal Arts from Harvard University, as you can see, May 2018. And you got a GPA of 4.0. And these are some of the awards that you got while studying for the masters. Class Marshall Award, Dean's List. So if you have all of these, you should line them direct. No need to like beat around the bush, just write it direct. And then after that, he wrote that he got a Bachelor of Computer Science from University of Malaya. See the date. That means he went from latest to oldest. And then if you have some skills, it's very good to outline them direct like this. See, this is like an example of how your resume should look like. There isn't like one size fit all solution to writing this type of documents, but you should make sure that you tick some boxes like we mentioned earlier, that is consistent in format. Everything is just check. As you can see, this professional experience, everything is direct. This is the role, the company, the time, the location, and everything written. These are some of the things that he did. He improved the performance of straight-through processing by da. You get the idea. Then the last one that we've not talked about is the reference letter. If you're applying for scholarship and they ask you for reference letter, what you should do is first think about the lecturers, the professors that taught you, and outline some of the ones that you worked with, your supervisor, and so on, and message them. If you can meet them personally, I think that's better. But if you're not with them, like me, when I was writing my own reference letters, I had to send them emails from here to go back and forth. I explained to them, this is what I was applying for and whatever, and they like wrote it for me. In most cases, let's say you're applying to a university, they are going to contact the lecturer direct, and the lecturer will send the reference letter direct to the university, even without you in the picture. While in some cases, it is you that will upload the reference letter. So in that case, you discuss with your professor, he's going to write it for you and then send it for you, and then you upload it. Now, it is very important that your lecturer or whoever is writing the reference letter for you writes things about you, things that you've done. For example, your supervisor, you did your project together, so he knows your abilities, he knows your minuses and your pluses, he knows the challenges that you went through. You can put those things on the reference letter. I think that's very good. It shows how you've progressed and so on. So you should put your character, your leadership skills, and whatever. After all that, then he should recommend you. He should write it explicitly that he recommends you for the program, for the university, and so on. Now, with all this, you see why it is very important you start preparing all these documents beforehand. Let's say you intend to apply for scholarships, you should start preparing these documents like months beforehand. Can't give you a specific number, but at least 1-2 months. to give you enough time to think about how to craft your SOP, how to write your CV very well, and to give you enough time to go back and forth with your professors till you get the reference letters that you want. Try and send, letters to maybe 5 or 8 of them that you'd want them to write reference letters for you, so that you'd have a lot of letters. If you write 5, you might get only 2 or 3. It's very good, it's okay. And then if you've finished university and you've started working and then you want to apply for scholarships and they ask you for reference letters, you can use your current employer as your referee, as the person that would write your reference letter. It doesn't have to be your, supervisor from 3, 4, 5 years ago. No, you can use, in a lot of cases, I see it happening. So in that case, you can use your employer as your referee, as the one that will be writing your reference letter for you. All right, hope you got a lot of value from this video. I just thought I should make a video that shows, the processes and the documents and everything that you need while you're applying for a scholarship. I just hope you got a lot of value from this. If you're really interested in, scholarships, check out this video where I showed how I got my own scholarship to study in Russia. Thank you very much for watching. Signing off now. See you on the next one.